Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Hey traders, I want to focus in this video on the US dollar, and I'm also going to be focusing on oil as well too. Now, on a fundamental macro point of view, we know the US dollar is it's gonna get devalued a lot, right? We know what's been happening the last 10 years and what's probably likely to happen for the next few years or more until the debt starts to really explode or it start to become a debt bubble or a debt sort of problem, should I say, where they can't pay it back. We know they're going to keep printing more money, and that's going to keep devaluing the currency from there. So I do see, guys, that on a macro point of view, on a big macro point of view, from a fundamental point of view, I do see that, you know, US dollar major top is forming right now from that there. And so and that in correlation is going to be very bullish for gold long term as well too. That's why I see gold stocks and stuff like that, you know, we talk about the big short, the next big short. Who cares about the next big short, right? Jump on the next big boom. Gold stocks and so on and so forth. Not all gold stocks, not GDX, not all gold stocks, but things like GDX, GDXJ, silver, gold, those sort of things, they're going to be really exciting moving forward. So that's what you want to be focusing on with that. But with this US dollar, I've actually got the UUP here, so it's not exactly the US dollar, but you know, it basically goes in correlation. So if I show you what I'm seeing through here, look at this, all right? Let me bring up this weekly chart here. And look what's happened through here, okay? We've had a lot of major gyrations here, as you can see, over the last sort of, you know, this is a weekly chart. But look what's happened through here. Let me bring up this chart through. Let me bring up the trend lines that I've got here. And I want to share something with you, okay? We can see how that the market came up, it ran up, hit this resistance, came down, came up, hit resistance again, came down, and see how it just flew to the upside. It just shot to the upside, and now we're coming down, and now we're breaking back down again. And see how we're starting to roll over here. If I go to my daily chart, see how we're just lower high and we're starting to break down. Let me bring up the candlestick chart here so you can see it. All right, see how we're lower high, and you can and we're starting to roll over here. Now we're actually breaking down. What this is this is a classic false breakout or one last bullish move. This is what the metals have done, but to the downside. They've had a big flush down, and now they're probably likely to see a massive move up. Well, US dollar is the opposite. US dollar has had a massive move up, and now we're probably likely to see a rollover here, and which we are, and then a continued move on the downside from there. And we can see here that once again, you see how it actually had a lot of problems here. I had a lot of problems, and this sort of $27 level on the UUP, which is the US dollar sort of bullish fund that's here. We see we had once, twice, 3, 4, and 5 times around this 27. It had problems. Now it's shot straight up, came back down, found support, but now look what's happening. We're actually rolling back over now. This is a classic topping pattern in the markets. And it's showing a lot of weakness in the markets as well too. And we can start to see that on a short-term basis. I see this thing getting down to around $26. But if we look at this major move that's happened in this here, I see this thing getting to at least, we're probably likely to see a run down to, I would say, around this sort of $24 level, somewhere around about there. Let me bring up this chart through. So we're probably likely to see a devalue, and where we are right now, we're probably likely to see a nice 10% drop at least on a short-term basis. But on an overall major basis, guys, let me see if I can bring up that monthly chart. Will it come up? All right, there we go. There, okay. So probably on an overall basis, we're probably likely to head back down. We're probably likely to get a devalue. Probably over the next 5 years or more, I definitely see a devalue of 20-30%. Of the devalue of the US currency there, and who knows, guys? Who knows what's happening right now? But there's going to be a digital currency that's going to come into play, or a one world currency, or something is happening behind the scenes right now. We're getting major shifts, right? Things like what's happening right now in the economy, where there's big debt bubbles happening all around the world, low interest rates all around the world. You see how it's all coming together for something to happen. What do you guys think is happening behind the scenes? One, do you think this whole crypto thing that's happening right now, the last 10 years, is a sign that we're actually going to go to a digital currency? I don't think Bitcoin is going to be digital currency, but maybe the government's going to create one currency across the world, and we're going to do that. Maybe Chinese, maybe the China, maybe we're going to start trading in Chinese currency. But what do you guys think? Once again, is there a digital currency, or is there going to be like a one world currency from there? So really, really, really interesting stuff there, guys. And that's the reason why I say US dollar major topping patterning, and down we go from there. We should. So that's what I'm seeing through there on the US dollar there, guys. Let me go share with you what I'm seeing on oil here. So this is the oil chart through here. One thing I'm seeing is that oil definitely did break below. This low level through here around, let's have a look at this here, around that $26 to $28 here on oil. We can start to see this. Let me bring up the weekly chart. If I scroll back here, notice this was the major low level through here, okay? So this market came down, bounced off it actually a couple of times. Let me bring this over here. All right, notice how we came down here. This is a weekly chart, by the way. Bounced off it once, came down, definitely bounced off it twice. We almost bounced off it there, bounced off it twice, and then we saw a nice rally up, as you can see. And then suddenly what happened is as you can see right now, we're moving forward. We have this sideways movement. Now we've had this big, massive drop down, as you can see. We've continued, we've had this big, massive gap here, and now we've actually had a big drop down. So the question is, have we actually found bottom in oil? Right now, there's no sign of the bottoming forming. There's a lot of strength coming in oil, and I do believe that gap will be filled here. But one thing I'm looking at right now is if I bring up my daily charts here, we can see we're in a very big downward movement. But look what's happening here on a short-term basis. Let me bring up, say, the last sort of 3-month view. Remember this level through here. Let me bring it up just a little bit more. This level support and this resistance level. Remember, that's the weekly level as well too, right? So you can see how it's definitely having a lot of sort of problems through there. We can see how we had this support through here, which was that weekly support. Look at all the resistance through there. This day, and even came up recently and rejected it. Now, why is that important? Because we know it's rejecting this resistance level right now, right? So it's staying below that. But what do we also see? We also see right now we've had this bottom through here, okay, and then we also have this bottom through here as well too. So now we've actually got a bit of a double bottom formation, and now we're moving to the upside. So depending on what actually happens with oil right now, if oil can stay here and not break below these low levels through here, this is that major low level through here. Okay, if oil can actually hold here and not break below the lows, but hold and then start to break back above, that's actually a significant sign. Why? Because we've got a double bottom through here, a bottoming formation. We now have a major high through here, and then a major pullback all through here as well too. So this this pullback through here as well too. But if we don't break below the low here and we hold here, that's showing the buys are coming in. And then if the buys come in, then the market's likely to rise from there. But not only that, remember, this $26 level through here, or this $28 level, should I say? Remember, that's a long-term weekly support level that has happened over many, many, many years. But even on today, we've had a bounce off it once, came down, bounce off it twice, bounce off it 3 times. So it's respecting that. What do you think if the market gets back above this resistance, okay? If the market holds here or even comes back down and holds and we start to rally and we get back above, this was support. Now it's resistance. Now it's resistance. What do you think it's going to be here? It's going to be what again? Support. So from that, even if we did break above it, we're likely to pull back if we do pull back, and then we're likely to come up and close the gap. So have we actually found a bottoming formation in oil? This is what I'm seeing right now in oil, and so that's what you want to look out for. If we do if we don't break below the low here, we don't want to see a break below here. We want to see the buyers start to come in, hold here, and if we do start to see a rise up on a short-term basis, this level through here will break. Once we break above this level, we may get some pullbacks and it may be slight sideways and so on and so forth. But I reckon over a month or so, we're likely to come up and close that gap overall. But then if I see oil on a longer term basis, let me bring up the weekly chart. We also can see that there's major levels of resistance up here as well too. So we're actually where the gap is, which is really interesting. Major resistance. So if we get back above this 30 level here, this will also be, what is this here? It's a classic what? A classic false breakout. A false breakout is when the market, and the markets do this the markets do this for people that don't understand the markets. The markets love to do this to get you short or all that sort of stuff, right? But if you can notice it in real time, you can see what's actually happening. If the market comes back down here and holds its support, right? This is a weekly chart, but then it comes back down again and it bounces, but then we actually break back below it. That's a break below, right? That should be a significant break below. But if we don't, and then we hold through here, then we break back up. This is a classic end of trend sucker rally that most traders that don't understand these markets get into it, and then we're probably likely to see a move back up and a nice move back up. So we can see this low through here and this low through here. If we do hold through here and we start to get back above, say, that 28 to 30 level, we're likely to rise back up, not only to close the gap, but probably up to that, towards that, where does that level through there? Let's go back to the daily chart here for a minute. Yeah, so we're probably likely to come up and close that gap, and around that 42 level there is where the resistance is going to start to come into play. Hey traders, I'm running a flash sale. It's a $7 flash sale to my brand new Go to the Markets by the Balls trading course. If you go to johnsflashsale.com, you can get access to the $7 massive sale that I'm doing right now for a short time. So go to johnsflashsale.com and I'll see you over there.